The eye glared right at Valak and then shot a green beam of energy into the sky. The ground shook violently for miles around, completely collapsing the inside of the quarry under thousands of tons of rock and marble.
Quarry.
The beam shot into the sky and found its way to the nearby town of Nampa, the closest source of human life. Gerald had managed to get Megan outside, as Eric had managed to steal and hotwire a jet black Pontiac Firebird so he could race to the quarry. Each of them could see the giant beam coming into the town from overhead, when suddenly the ray of energy split apart into hundreds of smaller rays that proceeded to each slice through random townspeople and citizens. Eric managed to swerve the car at the last minute, but not enough to avoid clipping a telephone pole that sent Joe D's head straight into the dashboard, knocking him out, but he did avoid rolling it on its side into a ditch. While Gerald had to jump in and reapply pressure to Megan when one of the beams cut the EMT open from the top of his head down to his chin like a pistachio. There were cries and screams from all directions, and then those touched by the energy shrinked and shriveled like dried corpses and crumbled into dust, leaving behind only severed limbs and puddles of blood from where the energy first struck them. And then as quickly as it had happened, everything was quiet again. So,
well, I wonder how Conway feels about that.
Not good. Not good at all.
Immediately validated. Immediately. It didn't take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Gerald, you're covered in blood. The EMT pretty much exploded onto you before he disintegrated. Plus, you're covered in blood from Megan as well. Seems to be somewhat stable right now. They're getting ready to throw her into an ambulance, but that's really not even working that great. That's a good question. Where did Helen go? Helen got hit by a green beam and disintegrated.
Jesus. Sorry, Star.
Jeez, right.
She discovered that she could teleport and went the heck home. Okay, so Megan, they don't know if she's going to make it to the hospital. It is a stressful ride. Like, the ambulance turns on its sirens and they start racing towards the hospital, and then the radio starts blowing up with calls. So-and-so just died, so-and-so just died, so-and-so's missing an arm. The dispatcher doesn't know what to do. Like, he's panicking because there's nobody in the back while he's trying to drive this into the hospital. He's shouting orders to you, like, take that thing over there, stab it into her arm and inject it, make sure you don't give her an embolism. And he says, oh wait, make sure there's no air in it. He's just hauling ass to the hospital.
Jesus.
Come on, guys. This is what
come on.
You make it to the hospital after an extremely bumpy ride. You got to even yell at the guy a couple times to take it easy because your hands are slipping. There's so much blood. You got these huge bandages that are just bleeding through right away, pretty much turning deep red as soon as you put them on.
I don't like her really at all, but I feel responsible for everything that's happened to her.
Yeah, you take a lot of responsibility on. You got Megan, you got my eye, you got the dozens of people who just got laser beams.
Hundreds of people. Hundreds of people just died.
I'm aware of all of this.
Oh yeah, Tammy, we haven't even talked about Tammy yet. Yeah, the hospital is in total chaos. There's patients and doctors and nurses that have been also affected by what had happened. So it's not like being indoors saved anybody. There's screaming everywhere. You've got the doctors though. They're doing a good job. We don't know what the hell's going on, but we're gonna do what we can to save people's lives. Not a lot of survivors from what happened, but there are people coming in that were injured for other things, yourself included. And the ambulance pulls right up into the bay. The dude hops out. He's enlisted your help because he doesn't have an option. Like, you're it. She's loaded onto one of those gurneys with the wheels, and yeah,
both the hovering gurneys.
As opposed to the hover gurneys, yeah. Or the human powered lifting ones. What are those called? Stretchers. Yeah. Like, that's a word I know from wrestling. Human powered gurney, also known as a stretcher. So you are wheeling Megan, in style by the way, straight into the emergency room, and the EMT is like, we got a stab victim here. She's bleeding out. We need some units of whatever the universal blood donor thing is. And So people start rushing around. They're bringing bags of blood, trying to find a vein. Luckily, Megan has skinny arms, and it's not too hard to find a vein. They like do that thing where they put the blood in, but they like squeeze the bag, try and get it in faster, and they're shouting orders. And eventually, she is taken to emergency surgery, and you are left outside because you're not a real doctor, even if you do pretend to be one every once in a while. Eric, so you see all of this carnage happen around you. You pretty much hadn't even made it 2 miles away from the museum, and you see this giant green beam shoot up, barely misses the car. Like, you don't know what the hell it was, but shortly thereafter, you see people sliced in half, pretty much like Elfin Lied. You've ever seen that, Kyle?
I said, nigga, keep going.
Okay, man. Appreciate that. I really do. So they get sliced apart, and you almost crash the car. Joe D, however, he's got a concussion. He wasn't wearing his seatbelt, and wham! Right into there. He's got a big lump on his forehead. You check his pulse. He's fine, but he's not going to be any good to anybody. He might need to go to the hospital as well.
And I don't leave them just randomly on the side of the road. Like, I try to leave them where there's less chaos, but still people.
You can find like a firefighter. He's just going to heave him out of the car and
Not heave them.
open the door and just kind of gently nudge him out so he falls over in a controlled way.
Yeah, like, I'm not trying to exacerbate his concussion, but I got places to be.
Okay, volunteer firefighter dude. He's trying to treat a couple people before they go into shock and just do some basic level shit until the real professionals can get here. When this severely dented, missing a mirror, stolen jet black Pontiac Firebird rolls up, doesn't even roll to a complete stop, slows down to about 4 or 5 miles an hour, reaches over, opens the door, and just kind of rolls Joe D onto the side, making sure his limbs will clear the tires of the vehicle. So Joe D rolls onto the pavement in front of this guy. He's confused as hell. He looks at you, and you're already speeding away. You don't even bother to close the door. You just take a turn really tight, and the door shuts itself. Thankfully, even though the body's all dinged up to shit. It's just Eric in the car now.
I still have to head to the quarry.
That's what you're going to be doing for about the next 35 minutes. So Eric's driving like a bat out of hell, and Gerald, you get an update at the hospital. You see a bloodied trauma surgeon make his way out. And are you the next of kin?
I'm a friend, family friend.
Does she have any next of kin?
No, none that I'm aware of.
Okay, I don't have time to sugarcoat anything for you. She is in bad shape, and I don't know if she'll survive that. We did everything we could to stop the bleeding, but there was some damage to her liver, and she lost a lot of blood. If it wasn't for you, I guess, according to the EMT, being right there and putting pressure on as quick as you did, it would have been a hopeless situation. So if she does have a chance, it's because you gave her one. But we've got her sedated. We've put her into a medically induced coma. We'll have her closed up and in a recovery room if you want to see her. She's not going to know you're there.
Well, the first thing I would do, I calm the doctor, the surgeon down and everything, because it's chaos here. And the best thing I can do is make sure that everyone here gets the best treatment they can and everybody loses their head. So I try to spend a few minutes chatting them up. And all of my possessions are in the car that just exploded, except for my wallet. So I buy a couple of gift bags so that I have bags, and then I get a cab back to my car, where normally the exploding car would have a giant police thing around it by now, but since there are hundreds of dead people...
Yeah, it's chaos right now. I mean, you see police cars like streaming by, their lights flashing. You see fire trucks. You can hear sirens in a bunch of different directions.
Yeah, so I go back to my car for however long it takes me, and I'm not happy about it. Right, just get there, inspect the car.
On the positive note, the transmission's fine. The engine's fine because it was in the front of the vehicle. The rear axle has pretty much removed itself from the vehicle. A lot of your gear is still salvageable because a lot of it can survive an explosion.
But yeah, so I get all of my stuff. So I gather all my stuff into a bunch of hobo bags so that nobody can see that it's guns and knives and stuff. My sword, I don't even bother. It's too long. All my extra paperwork, badges, everything I have in there, everything out of the car. Find a nearby motel so where I can dump all this stuff off and lock it down. Then I call to have my car towed somewhere in all this chaos.
It takes you a while to even find a place that's taking work right now. But eventually you find some dude who just doesn't give a shit, and he's like, all right, where's he at? Where am I taking it?
I probably would have it towed somewhere local, and then I would still have somebody from out of state, a hunter buddy or a guy I did a favor for, come and pick it up on a flatbed, and then I'll deal with it later.
They haul it to a body shop. What happens is about half an hour later, you do get a phone call, because I'm assuming you leave them a number. The guy's pretty much trying to talk you out of getting it fixed, because this is one of them situations where you really don't fix the car. You get a new car.
It's just going to be a matter of welding a new frame on, getting all the body pieces I need, repairing the back end. The thing's good to go.
Eric, you haul ass to the quarry.
One thing. After that's all done, I go to the party store nearest to my motel, and I buy 2 big bottles of cheap whiskey and go back to the motel and drink until somebody rouses me from my drinking.
What's Gerald going through right now?
He just kind of like drops some crumpled clothes, cracks open the bottle, grabs the glass, puts the glass back down, just hits straight out of the bottle, and it's 2 fifths, just sitting on one of those little motel tables. He drinks and he looks around at everything. He looks out the window, listens to the sirens that are still going on, things blaring by. Yeah, he does turn the TV on to whatever. He doesn't care what's on, but he just turns it up really loud so he can't hear the sirens.
It's one of the local news channels.
You hear the sirens on the TV. Like, come on, bro.
I'm not watching news. I'm looking for like Gilligan's Island.
That's where it starts. So you can change the channel, but you do hear, we have no idea what's going on, but it appears that hundreds of people have just inexplicably died in some sort of freak accident. They're saying maybe it was a meteor shower, maybe it was some sort of government weapons test. Like, nobody knows anything, but the only thing they do know is that there's hundreds of confirmed dead in the small town. That's what Gerald hears before pretty much immediately switching the channel. Yeah, you can get some reruns of I Love Lucy, which was a good show when Gerald was growing up.
It's really loud and people are banging on the walls. He doesn't care. They can come pick a fight. He doesn't change out of the scrubs. There's probably still blood on his hands, even though he tried to wash up at the hospital. And he just sits in a chair that's not bearing his weight very well and drinks whiskey.
Eric, do you see cars that appear to have crashed on the side of the road? I mean, you've got bigger concerns at the moment. You see that the quarry, the entrance to the mine has collapsed. You're able to get a hold of the traffic cam system. So you do see this vehicle speeding away, and you are able to get a license plate. What's a good vanity plate for it? Too Hot.
Oh, come on.
3T. It's a Jeep. It's a Jeep Wrangler, speeding away from the town, heading into like the middle of nowhere. The timestamp on it was about 30 minutes ago.
Well, if it's no reason to try to dig into the mine necessarily. They only have a half-hour head start, and you said they were heading towards Oregon. I would pursue. As soon as I get back on the road, I would give them a call.
Gerald, it's Eric.
Hey, clearly the demons got the thing they were looking for. They only have about a half-hour head start on me, so I'm gonna pursue.
All right, I'll get a rental or something, and I'll start heading that way. Find my way there.
Yep.
Right as you're starting to leave Rockville, you do get a text from Helen, and she was able to narrow down the warehouse where Tammy was being kept about 20 minutes back. You know where your mom is.
Only Joe D didn't have a massive concussion. Yeah, I think despite how untenable it is, Eric's gonna have to call Conway back. Ring, ring.
Yeah, I got like my pants off. I'm trying to change out the scrubs.
Scratch. Helen narrowed down where Tammy is currently. My mother is currently being held. It's 20 minutes behind me. I'm going to text you that address, and I'm going to need you to head there. I'm still going to pursue the demon.
Yeah, sure. No problem. I got this.
Yeah.
Gerald pulls out the box with the belt buckle in it. So he's not as drunk as you might think, but definitely too drunk to be doing anything. I shower, clean up, drink some coffee. Oh, and the rest of the whiskey's going with me on the trip. I keep my courage high. Do they have an army surplus store?
You're able to find something from a retired police officer, pawned a Kevlar vest. You have to let the straps out a little bit.
Because you're fat and old.
Hey, if I wasn't wearing this vest and a demon came up with a butter knife, I might get stabbed in the heart. Just saying.
As unlikely as your scenario is, I'm going to allow that you are correct in that extremely narrow circumstance. Like, you are protected fully against being stabbed in the heart with a butter knife from a demon.
All right.
Regular dude, you're in trouble. But if the demon does it, you're fine.
Listen, like, it may seem super narrow and super specific, but stranger things have happened.
You drive, and the name of the town was Marsing. The town kind of went away because the only reason it was there was to process some of the materials that were being brought to it. Can't say that you made it there in a straight line, but it's not as bad as the vehicle in Wolf of Wall Street. Like, you think you made it there just fine, and for the most part, you did.
It's a rental. I don't care.
Right.
It's not even under my name. I'm taking the shoulder. People are driving like idiots because they're trying to get out of town, into town. There's ambulances. I'll just go off-road with this rental. I don't give a shit.
You go off-road, but it's a fucking compact.
Hey, the compact can take the shoulder just fine.
I don't even think it could get over the shoulder.
So anyways, you make it to a building that looks a lot like what Helen described. A bunch of broken windows, debris kind of everywhere. One vehicle, busted out Pontiac G6.
I'm going belt buckleless. I pull out some of the dust of the dead god. I snort it. Why not? It's not the first time old Gerald Conway snorted something.
I need a timeout. I have no idea what snorting dead god ashes should do. Well, I'm gonna roll D100. So Gerald takes a line of ash from a god that they had killed. So what you have done is you've taken the essence of thousands of competitors and snorted it into yourself. Gerald, your heart rate shoots up, your blood pressure shoots up. You don't feel drunk anymore. You feel really confident.
I think Gerald has a new addiction.
You feel like you could do just about damn near anything.
All right, let's do this. Shotgun, pistol holstered, sword, and I move in on the position. I feel great. I might actually be able to take out multiple demons.
You are able to scout the outside a little bit, peek in through one of the windows. You're as quiet as you can be, and you see a giant tarp covering something, so it's really hard to tell what it is. You find a roll-up door, but it's all bent to shit, and part of it is actually bent out enough that kind of get up under it and like crawl underneath it on your back.
Take my pistol out, put that in my mouth. I got a shotgun in one hand, and I'm trying to get my way through.
You're able to make your way inside. There's a little bit of creaking and groaning from the metal door. It's not like knocking over a stack full of rakes onto a pile of glass. You do get some of that, like trying to walk quietly through the house in the middle of the night and stepping on every squeaky floorboard. You do think you see some shadows moving to check out the back.
Okay.
You do see one make its way through and start scoping out the receiving area. They are going to walk to a point where you are no longer obstructed from behind the desk. You stay where you are.
I ready the stamp, and
Okay.
I softly squish it into the ink pad so that it's wet, but I do circle around the desk. I think I can stay around the desk and they won't see me. I'm pretty damn good at sneaking, right?
Gerald sees the shadow of the demon starting to come around. Gerald is able to sneak his way around the desk in such a way that he's always got this line of sight barrier. The demon looks back like it's going to turn around unexpectedly instead of keep going. But what Gerald does is he quickly pulls his shoe with his other foot and flips it into the metal door. And the demon turns when Gerald stops from behind and stamps him right on the back of the neck.
Here's what I'm going to do. I kick my one leg out in front of him so that all of my girth is on top of this body. And then I hold on. I dig my other hand, the one that's over his mouth, and I just start quietly, exorcism stay. Omnis Mundus Spiritus, and I start the exorcism.
You clamp him up so he can't make any noise, and then almost like in the Saving Private Ryan scene where he convinces the guy that he's about to get stabbed that it's okay and that he should just be quiet and go with it, you whisper the exorcism into the demon's ear.
Exorcism stay. Omnis Mundus Spiritus. Omnis Satanico Potestas. Omnis Incursio. Adversarius. Omnis Legio, Omnis Congratio, El Sector Diabolica, Ergo Draco Maledicte, Ecclesiam Tuum Syracuse Tibi, Facius Libertate, Severe Tirogamis. Then I stroke his cheek. Audinos.
So yeah, you smoke this thing out, and then you kind of get demon smoke running through your fingers, which feels a little weird. You're feeling like a total badass right now.
It's the most badass moment of his life, and no one was here to see it.
Right, like that's the best thing you've ever done. The person that was exorcised from might live.
This also seems a good time to switch over to Kyle.
Yep.
I mean, you are hauling ass down I-95 trying to catch up with the Jeep. You're going to need to stop for gas. Now, you get into Jordan Valley, you get some gas, you take the time to try and hack into some of the local traffic cams. That's where you're at. So if you keep pursuing, then we're just going to put you back in the car, gassed up, ready to go, and I'll let you know what happens a little bit later. Back to the warehouse.
Once this guy's down and he's out, I'm gonna just slowly, encouraged by how much success I just had, keep the sneak game up. I'm better at this than I thought. If I can keep doing this, I'm golden.
You peek around the corner and you do see one demon. It's facing the front door.
I can't believe there's only two. And what's the shape of the tarp now that I can see?
So it's almost like a two-tented big top, but it's only about 6 feet tall.
And I discharge my firearm twice. If he comes rushing in to see what's going on, I can stamp him.
You fire 2 shots and you make yourself as hidden as you can. You okay? What's going on?
Ah, shit. I don't know what to do here.
You hear some movement moving towards the door, and you see a figure make it to the doorway, looks through.
Right on the forehead. Fries.
Motherfucker.
Some fries, motherfucker.
Supplies, motherfucker.
Hard eyes, motherfucker.
All rise, motherfucker.
Rude eyes, motherfucker.
Dark skies, motherfucker.
Wrong size, motherfucker.
Fat thighs, motherfucker. What are we doing with our lives?
Winning.
I felt like that a minute ago. The demon grapples ineffectively with Gerald, is almost overpowered by the fat Val Kilmer, and then Gerald, he hits you like right in your funny bone, and your arm holding the stamp goes numb. You drop it. He picks you up, and with no damage, because you both were just so shitty at it, throws you through the doorway into the room where the tarp was and follows.
All right.
And then as you start to get up, I wouldn't be so hasty if I were you. I'm guessing you're here for that?
That was the plan.
Well, why'd you have to try and take the fun out of it? And he starts walking over to the tarp.
I've been a buzzkill lately.
And he takes the tarp and gets ready to rip it off. And he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, step right up. Do I have a show planned for you?" And he rips the tarp off. And underneath the tarp, tied to 2 chairs, so you see Tammy and another woman.
Who is this person?
So bound tightly and also gagged, between them are 2 double-barrel shotguns. One pointed at Tammy and one pointed at Portia. Time for a little game. You see, you did something for us. But you really didn't do it the way you were supposed to. But since you really did us a favor, I'm only going to shoot one of these. And since I'm feeling especially generous, I'm going to give you 1 minute to decide who.
From the way you've described her, this is an easy choice.
Yeah, Portia's dead, bro.
She's done. Doing him a favor.
And that's, hey,
I'll admit, I was a little stamp happy.
Where did you get that, by the way?
Special ordered. I can't believe no one's ever done this before. Her son is brilliant. Now I point at Tammy.
Really? And he puts his finger on the trigger pointing at Tammy.
We can be adults about this.
What do you have to say?
I made a bargain. I upheld it. And
yeah, but that would count for more if you did that on purpose.
Oh, but I did. I chose to give you guys what you wanted.
If you chose to have hundreds of people die, knowing.
Maybe you could just give me both. And I mean, your buddy Stockholm's in the wind.
He give you both bodies. Puts his hand on the other trigger.
Hey, you said one. Don't beat no backsies.
The demon is standing away from you with his hand on 2 triggers, telling you to choose in 60 seconds or both of them die.
All right. I'm willing to risk Portia because everything I've heard about her is awful, and Tammy doesn't deserve this.
Yep.
First of all, hold on. You can't have both hands on the trigger. I can't make a decision while you're doing that.
Well, that's the fun.
I don't trust you. Be a sport about it. Be fair.
30 seconds. This isn't fair. This is fun. 35
It's
seconds.
more fun if you give me a sporting chance of this sort of thing.
No, the sporting chance is I want to see you pick one person who died. I want you to have to live with that you told me to kill this other person 30 seconds. That's the fun. You're going to be scarred for the rest of your life no matter what happens. I just want you to be the one that chooses.
Portia dies. So do you.
He pulls the trigger, and what do? Portia does get shot.
Does he still have the hand on the other trigger?
He takes it off.
Oh, okay. Well, as soon as I picked.
That was the game.
Okay.
Portia's brains get
asshole.
splattered all over the side of the warehouse.
Thank God he was divorced. I tackle him to the ground and I put my fist as hard as I can into his mouth so he can't smoke out, and I try to stamp him while exercising him, while punching him. I'm frustrated. I feel zealous.
It's one of those things where you kind of knew it was going to happen, but you had to try anyways. You start to make a rush, you cover about half the distance, and it does one of those demon things where it flips you across the room. But the demon doesn't pursue you to kill you. You're pinned against the wall, And he says, I could snap your neck, but then that would have been for nothing.
What's your name?
You've already met me, Grigori. I had a ride in your friend. Is she dead?
Not yet.
Really? Tough little bitch. She will be. No one's gonna survive something like that. So, here she is. I'm done with you, and I'll kill you some other time.
Any night will do then.
And the demon leaves.
I go check on Tammy.
She's alive. Portia, she looks horrified, by the way, having seen Portia get her brains blown out.
Well, she did also witness a man get broom fucked. So
Might have been doing her a favor to choose her.
Something you notice about the gag, it's covered in vomit.
Oh, well, I didn't do the gag, obviously.
And you see vomit on the ground around her. Oh, thank God you're here. Where's Eric?
He's off pursuing a different lead. Are you
So
okay?
sorry.
What
I'm
happened?
So sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Ugh, they made me pick.
It's okay. There's nothing you could have done. Reggie would understand.
No, I could have died. They said
Reggie?
they would let him go. They said him or me.
Did they threaten Eric?
They said that Eric would find me after what they did to me.
It's fine. I know what's not fine. It's awful. But I look at Portia. There's nothing good is coming out of any of this. It is what it is. Are you feeling okay? And I look at the vomit. Do you feel sick?